Now, many people know that the mayor and I's friendship began long before our time here at City Hall. Now, what often is missed in the story is that before we were friends, he was my boss. Now, a lot has changed in the 20 years since I first worked for Mayor Stoney. He's now a husband, a father, a former cabinet secretary, and an 8-year mayor of the city of Richmond. But there's at least two things that haven't changed in the 20 years since I first met and worked for Mayor Stoney. First is that I still love working for him. The second is that he still has to remind me to get a haircut. Some years ago, I was asked by the Harvard City Leaders program that Mayor Stoney was a part of to describe his management style. And I could very easily sum it up in a single sentence. Levar's management style is to have one arm around your shoulder while keeping one foot up your you-know-what. Not surprisingly, that made it into the highlights that they sent him at the end. Speaking for myself, I've always admired that as a leader, his first position is to see how he can support you being successful in your role. But that doesn't mean you won't be pushed or that you won't be held accountable. That balance of support and accountability is how he motivates all of us who work here at City Hall to do the big things and to take our city to the next level. I can tell you from experience, you don't want to let him down. You definitely don't want to be there if his eyelashes start fluttering, but he's still smiling. Brandy says definitely. She knows the look too. Kind of freaky, still smiling, but eyelashes going. You know what I mean? But Mayor Stoney knows that the success of our city begins and ends in one place: our city employees. When Mayor Stoney came into office and I joined him as chief of staff, the city had just over 3,000 employees, down from over 4,000 just a few years prior. To say that our employees felt overworked, underpaid, underappreciated would have been a massive understatement. Now fast forward 8 years. Mayor Stoney has led us to being an employer of choice. We've made our wages competitive with the region. We've improved benefits to include health clinics, the transition to VRS, to have a stronger retirement option for our employees. We've put in place tuition assistance, free credentialing, an employee home buyer assistance program. All in, over the last 4 years, our city budget reflects a $100 million increased investment in the employees that do the work for the citizens of Richmond. And that has allowed us to grow from that 3,000 employees 8 years ago to nearly 4,000 employees today. That deserves another round of applause. So if you are or have been an employee of the city of Richmond under Mayor Stoney's tenure, I would just briefly ask that you stand up. And yes, don't stay standing. Because yes, you do deserve that round of applause. But I thought you might want to join me. thank you and we love you. It's now my honor to introduce someone else who I've thoroughly enjoyed working alongside and collaborating with these past 8 years, and particularly the last 2 years that she's been in leadership. I know for a fact that the city is in a stronger, better place heading into the future thanks to President Nye, and I'd like to welcome her to the podium.
Lincoln's a little bit taller than me. Thank you so much, Lincoln, and that was a lovely speech. Before I get started, I just want to recognize we have numerous elected officials, including my colleagues on City Council, and we have some members of State Senate and state delegation. Can everybody just stand up and be recognized? And thank you to everybody for your service. So Mayor Stoney, here we are in our final days in City Hall. We're on 11 days, right? 12. Okay. All right. We've been counting down together. Mayor Stoney and I have had the fortune of stepping into our respective roles together on January 1st, 2017. And we leave together at the end of this year. A few things have happened since he came on board. He found the love of his life, and they got married. Then they had the cutest little baby. They have built a beautiful family, all while he was working hard for the citizens of Richmond. In his early pre-marriage and pre-daddy days, he ventured out in the first snow of 2017 and was spotted sledding on the best sledding hill in the city, in the 4th District, I might add, in Forest Park. I think that may have been a historic moment to have the mayor of the city of Richmond sledding in the middle of our city. And apparently that was your first time on a sled? We'll see if we can make it happen again. He came into office with young, new energy, and he leaves with a little bit of gray hair, me too, and a long list of accomplishments. I know other speakers today will have a lot of the mayor's successes to share with you, but on behalf of City Council, I want to mention a few things that were very significant, but might not make the top 10 list. Mayor Stoney has been an incredible advocate for our city parks. We worked with the James River Outdoor Coalition, JROC, on an accessible river ramp that increases access to park lovers of all levels of mobility. Perhaps even more importantly, we did the impossible and added park space in a landlocked city, including acquiring 17 acres of land for Laris Park and 15 acres of Mayo Island. Both of these deals were challenging in their own ways, but you worked with City Council to get them finalized. Early on, the mayor worked with council to take our citywide paving budget from less than $4 million to $20+ million. And I know, clap for that. And now potholes are not the main topic of conversation at every meeting we go to. Your team led the way in the Virginia region with the newly established inclement weather shelter and housing resource center on Chamberlain Avenue. And while we have more work to do, I'm grateful for the significant investments we've made on behalf of our unhoused population. The mayor made a commitment to using the authority the state gave us Thank you. To allow our employees to unionize and collectively bargain. We were one of the first Virginia localities to allow collective bargaining for our employees, and because of it, we've become competitive enough to attract and retain the brightest and the best. And Mayor Stoney has made multiple changes in the city to make us more inclusive. From raising the first pride flag at City Hall, taking down the Confederate monuments, and making Juneteenth a city holiday. All of these actions have created a more inclusive and accepting space here at City Hall, so thank you. Just last month, we got to celebrate one final major victory together when Council approved an ordinance we both co-patroned to acquire a second location for our city animal shelter to establish a dedicated adoption center. And breaking news update, we closed on this on Wednesday, so we're one step closer to making this dream a reality. As Mayor Stoney will certainly attest, we have not always agreed on every issue, and sometimes we've disagreed quite significantly. But one thing I've always appreciated about you, Mayor Stoney, is your collaborative spirit and coming to the table on behalf of all of Richmonders. You've always been willing to find common ground, consider innovative solutions, and get to yes on behalf of our city. And I truly believe our city has been better for it. Thank you. Lastly, I want to close by saying thank you for showing up. You didn't hide out at City Hall. We saw you in our neighborhoods. You came to our district meetings. We can talk about that later. You were there in happy times and in times of crisis. Richmonders have always known what you believe, and you've always been willing to stand for what you believe is right. Thanks to your leadership and your shared work with Council, I believe you are leaving Richmond better than you found it, and Richmonders will be feeling the positive effects of your legacy for many years to come. Now it's my honor to introduce somebody who certainly does not need an introduction, especially in City Council chambers where he served on council for 7 years, including last year as council president. I knew Delegate Jones way back when we were brand new council members stepping into office alongside with Mayor Stoney in 2017. I had the privilege of serving with him his entire time on council, including in council leadership. We are so lucky to have Delegate Jones representing us in the General Assembly, and he's continued to have the city's back. Thank you so much for being with us today, Delegate Jones, and for helping us celebrate Mayor Stoney.
Good afternoon, everybody. Oh, we can do better than that. I'm a preacher. Good afternoon to everybody. Good luck with that stopwatch. I'm a preacher and a politician. To my former colleagues on City Council, thank you for your service. To all those that work for the city, we are able to represent you because of the work that each and every one of you do on a daily basis. Rain, sleet, sunshine, or rain, you make this city what it is. And so it's just good to see each and every one of you here. To our members of the state delegation from Richmond, State Senator Ghazala Hashmi and State Senator Lamont Bagby, can we just recognize them once again for being here? And of course to Governor Terry McAuliffe. I met Levar Stoney in my first meeting with Terry McAuliffe at the Marriott. And LeVar had a lot less gray as we sat and we talked, but we gather here today to honor LeVar Stoney, a man who has steered the ship of our beloved city with unwavering dedication and visionary leadership. As he concludes his tenure as mayor of Richmond, we reflect on a journey marked by progress, resilience, and an unyielding commitment to social justice. Mayor Stoney, you've embodied the spirit of what it means to be a public servant in these tumultuous times. Your administration has been a testament to the power of love, not the sentimental kind, not the kind we sing about, but the tough, transformative love that pushes a community to the forefront to confront its challenges head on and emerge even stronger. Under your guidance, Richmond has grappled with its complex history while charting a course towards a more equitable future. You've shown us that true leadership isn't about maintaining the status quo, but about having the courage to challenge it when injustice is demanded. As you step down from your office, remember that your legacy isn't just the policies enacted or the projects completed. It is in the lives that you've touched, the conversations you've sparked, and the hope you've instilled in our youth who now see a path to leadership that looks like them. LeVar, you've demonstrated that politics at its best is about lifting up the voices of the marginalized, the least, and the left out, and creating a table where all are welcome. Don't do that. As you move forward, carry with you the knowledge that you've not just administered a city, but you've nurtured the souls of the families here. If you go, I go. So just know that if you go, I go, all right? But my friend, may your next chapter be as impactful as the one you concluded here. Richmond is better, regardless of those grades that were tried to hand out during, but Richmond is better for having had you at its helm. Richmond is stronger for having you at the captain's chair. Richmond is stronger for having you chart a different course. And as we look forward to seeing how you'll continue, love the hell out of this world. It's in dire need of it. And I wish you the best in your future endeavors. I'm going to ask that you would come as we present this resolution. And I would be remiss if members of the General Assembly, y'all had a vote on this as well. Come on over. We'd ask that you would come and stand. You didn't wear a tie? Well, amen. Commending LeVar Marcus Stoney, agreed to by the House of Delegates, July 18th, 2024. Whereas LeVar Marcus Stoney, a dedicated public servant who has demonstrated his commitment to social equity and community development at both the local and state levels, has ably served as the mayor of Richmond for 2 terms, from 2017 through 2024, and whereas LeVar Stoney grew up in Hampton Roads and was a first-generation high school graduate in his family, he continued his education at James Madison University, where he became involved with the institution's college Democrats and was selected to participate in the prestigious Virginia Governor's Fellows Program under Governor Mark Warner. And whereas LeVar Stoney began working for the Democratic Party of Virginia in 2006 and ultimately became executive director of the organization, in which capacity he supported President Barack Obama's successful presidential campaign in 2008. And whereas LeVar Stoney subsequently worked as deputy campaign manager and deputy director of the transition team for Governor Terry McAuliffe in 2013, then joined the McAuliffe administration as Secretary of the Commonwealth. And whereas LeVar Stoney made history as the first black secretary of the Commonwealth, and earned a reputation as a champion for civil rights through his determined advocacy for the restoration of voting rights to felons who had completed their sentences. And whereas desirous to be of further service, LeVar Stoney ran for and was elected as the 80th mayor of Richmond in 2016. His tenure has been defined by significant investment in children and families, affordable housing, economic development, poverty reduction, education, and public safety. As mayor, LeVar Stoney led the historic effort to remove all Confederate monuments from Richmond, transforming the city's landscape and moving it toward a more inclusive future by redefining the city's identity as the capital of compassion. And whereas LeVar Stoney ensured that Richmond's true history is told by bringing together state, local, and community leaders to develop the Shaco Project, a comprehensive program to provide interpretation of the historic Shaco Bottom neighborhood. And LeVar Stoney increased funding for Richmond Public Schools by 58% and allocated more than $350 million for the construction of new schools. He oversaw the establishment of high-quality after-school programming for every elementary and middle school student, and led the way in creating the Child Care and Education Trust Fund, which will expand access to child care and early education opportunities for Richmond's youngest residents. And whereas LeVar Stoney increased funding for affordable housing by more than 1,200%, investing $50 million of the city's capital improvement plan budget over the next 5 years in affordable housing projects, and partnering with local initiative Support Corporation to match the city's contribution. He also created the Commonwealth's first eviction diversion program and significantly expanded shelter and support services for the unhoused. And whereas LeVar Stoney, this is his record, not mine, LeVar Stoney raised the minimum wage for city employees from $11 an hour to $20 an hour, reflecting his commitment to improving the livelihood of city workers, and created Richmond's first guaranteed income pilot program, also known as the Richmond Resilience Initiative, and the Pathways program, which supports Richmond Public Schools graduates up to and through community college. Over the course of his tenure, Richmond saw a 22% reduction in the poverty rate, thanks in large part to these and other programs. Whereas, LeVar Stoney spearheaded the approval of the Diamond District Project, the largest economic development project in Richmond's history. And whereas, under his leadership, Richmond achieved a AAA bond rating. LeVar Stoney helped make city parks and green spaces more accessible by adding more than 140 acres of parkland and increasing funding for the Richmond Department of Parks and Recreation community facilities by 73% since 2017, ensuring that the new community centers and park amenities are made available to as many city residents as possible. Whereas during LeVar Stoney's tenure as mayor, Richmond was selected as the #1 place to live in Virginia by Travel and Leisure magazine, and as #1 best town to visit by CNN, along with a host of other accolades. Be it resolved by the House of Delegates that LeVar Marcus Stoney hereby be commended for his legacy of service as the 80th mayor of Richmond, and be it resolved further that the clerk of the House of Delegates prepare a copy of this resolution for presentation to LeVar Marcus Stoney as an expression of the House of Delegates' admiration for his achievements in service to the Richmond community. House patrons Jones, Askew, Bolivar, Carlson, Carr, Cousins, Coles, Fagans, Hayes, Henson, Hernandez. Look, let me tell y'all this right now. For as much as the leader puts up with, the one thing he can hear before he goes to the other side, you talk about men and women getting their flowers. Sir, here's your bouquet.
follow. Never follow a preacher. It is also my honor today to introduce another friend and former boss, someone who, like our mayor, when he knows what the right thing to do is, will never give up. You look at the way that he fought for Medicaid expansion every single year of his time as governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, through an endless number. I don't have a resolution to read from his record, but I remember much of it. And again, dogged determination is oftentimes what it takes to move the ball forward. And I can't think of any two people who embody that better than Mayor Stoney and Governor McAuliffe. So again, it is my distinct honor to introduce the 72nd Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. Well, after Delegate Jones went through that whole litany, not a lot left here, but before we get to my remarks, there is something special we're going to do. If you look behind me on the wall, you have chiseled into the marble all the mayors of the great city of Richmond. I mean, no offense, we shouldn't chisel it here after what you went through. We ought to put it on the front of the building. Whatever. That's not my decision here. I'm only a governor. But if I could ask Brandy Sunday and the mayor if they would kindly walk over to the wall there, and they're going to do a little pull down of the cords and officially have the name in marble, which can never be chiseled off. What an honor it is for me to be here with all of you today. Let me also thank all the city employees. You know, a lot of times the executive gets a lot of the credit, gets a lot of the blame, but it truly is teamwork. And all the successes that Delegate Jones read off, none of that would have been possible without the city employees. So let me once again thank all of you to our great city council. I thank all of you for the great work that you have done. Madam President, honored to be with all of you here today. Our great members of the General Assembly here with us today. Mayor-elect, you got a tough act to follow, brother. Well, you know, stand on top of shoulders. And let's have congratulations to our new mayor-elect. Running through the tape. Someone came out and said, you got 11 days to go. He said, no, I got 12. And I missed every one of those days. We have members of Levar and Brandy's family here with us today. If they could stand up and let's recognize them and thank them for being with us. So I'd like to make sure we recognized you. And, you know, this is really a special day for me. The mayor and I go back. We first started working together in March of 2010 when I had the auspicious idea that I was going to run for governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia. I was from New York, believe it or not. They weren't in the habit of electing New Yorkers as their governor. It convinced Levar that we needed to go out and do this. He literally moved into our house, lived with us for 4 years. I actually have 2 of my family members. My daughter Mary, where is Mary? She's here with us today. I thank Mary for coming down. And I don't know if any of you know Sally. Chip off the old block, as they like to say. But literally for 4 years on that campaign, we literally traveled over and did over 5,000 events. We went from one end of the Commonwealth, if you didn't know it, from Virginia Beach to Lee County. It takes you 9 hours to drive it. And event after event. And I got to tell you, wherever we went, everybody knew Levar, and they all loved Levar. And it was really such a big help to me running for governor. We had so much fun, did so many events. I think we probably did close to 100,000 miles, and I'm honored to say only one accident. He rear-ended someone. We were coming over a hill, and he was looking at his phone. But that's not bad out of 100,000 miles. And luckily, we hit a Democrat. Who was actually voting for me. So, you know, no paperwork, nothing involved. It was good. I remember the one time, though, I tried to reach out to everybody, every part of the Commonwealth, lift everybody up. I told the mayor, we're going out, and we're going to go in a coal mine. We're going to go down several thousand feet in a coal mine. I was actually coming. He was in another place, so we meet in this little shed with about 10 coal miners going to take us underground, and the mayor shows up wearing sandals. I didn't say we're going to Virginia Beach. I mean, we had so much fun together. I remember the time we went on the Eastern Shore. The great thing having a great body, man, is they used to have those grease fritters, those oyster fritters, and I made him eat everything I wouldn't touch. I said, oh, man, this is so good. You got to try this. The grease exploded all over his shirt. I mean, he got so close to our family. He lived in one of our bedrooms, which was dedicated to him. And, you know, we used to have to leave early in the morning. Most of you know I'm not much of a sleeper. I have a motto, sleep when you're dead. The mayor liked a little bit more sleep than I did. And I'd go up in the morning, 5 o'clock to get him up, and there was our family dog, Finnegan, laying in the bedroom down by his feet. I mean, he is so indoctrinated himself, but he truly was a member of our family. I love Levar. I love his dedication. As has been mentioned, he never gives up. And we were fortunate to win that election in 2013, and he and I put together one of the best cabinets that's ever been put together in Virginia history. I then made him my Secretary of the Commonwealth, the youngest, first African-American in the history of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And both of us knew we had 4 years, so we had to get humming. But it was about helping people, leaning in. And it's been mentioned, one of the biggest things was reforming our criminal justice system in the Commonwealth of Virginia. Because there were unfair elements to our criminal justice system here in Virginia. He and I worked together to erase a 114-year-old Jim Crow racist law. and he and I talked a lot about how to do this. And there's a reason why no governor had done this in 114 years. We knew it was going to be complicated, and we knew they were going to come after us. But it was the right thing to do. As you know, if you commit a felony and $100, you never vote for the rest of your life. You're an 18-year-old kid, you steal sneakers or an iPhone, you never vote. That's an unfair system. So we worked together. We went out and got A.E. Dick Howard from Virginia, who wrote our 72 draft of our Constitution. And I remember the day like it was yesterday when the mayor came in to me and said, Governor, I got great news. He says that you have the executive power to do this. I said, you sure? He said, yep. I said, well, you put it in writing. He said, I don't know. I said, you go back and tell him in writing on my desk. And he did that. And I'll never forget it. We stood on the steps of that Capitol and gave 200,000 people back the right to vote. That's leadership. But we were reforms. We had the most pardons of any governor in Virginia history. You know, I remember setting up the system with them, like we finally pardoned the Norfolk four Navy servicemen who were railroaded by a corrupt officer and prosecutor, all made up. We were able to pardon them. I remember Travion Blanc, a 15-year-old kid, 15 years old, was involved in an armed robbery, nobody hurt, they stole $80. His sentence in the Commonwealth of Virginia at 15 years old, 6 life terms plus 110 years. We were able to pardon Travion, and I talked to him recently. He just had a new baby boy. But that's what is about, and that's what Levar meant as the Secretary of the Commonwealth. And then I remember sitting out in the back of the governor's mansion. I built a little cigar garden out there. You know, we'd have a cocktail or two. You know, I'm Irish, I apologize. And we'd have some cigars. And most of the General Assembly scooted out after receptions because they didn't want to be stuck there all night with me, you know, until 3 in the morning. And we started talking about the mayor's future. And he first said to me, well, you know, maybe Congress. I said, you're not running for Congress. I said, you are an executive. You make decisions. You got to run for mayor here of the city of Richmond. And he got in that race, and nobody thought he could win. And it was an astounding victory because he worked hard. He knocked on every door. He visited everybody. He had great plans. And he's been a great mayor. Listen, politics is not an easy game. People attack you every single day. Everybody loves to criticize. It's just part of what you're into. But that never bothered Levar. I mean, he reduced the poverty rate here in the city of Richmond by 1/3. And I tell you, there are people today, Levar, who are getting out of bed whose lives are different because of the great work that you have done. He created a record amount of jobs. And I remember it was 8 years ago. We sat in the governor's mansion. The first concept of the diamond. We sat with VCU folks and the Squirrels folks, and the first idea we had sitting in the governor's mansion talking about building that diamond. And now, 8 years later, that has become reality because of this man. So I could go on forever, but I won't. But I am here today to say thank you for being such a great friend. Together, we have helped change people's lives. And I think of Teddy Roosevelt's quote, credit belongs to the man in the arena whose face is dust and blood and sweat. Not that poor, timid soul who knows neither victory nor defeat. That is Levar Stoney. In the city of Richmond, the Commonwealth of Virginia, and the United States of America are a better place because you have been in that arena for your whole life. Ladies and gentlemen, the 88th mayor of the city of Richmond, Levar Stoney.
The governor said he had to tell the coal mining story. How about the other stories as well, right? I want to first begin with thanking my friend, Governor Terry McAuliffe, for that heartfelt introduction. I thought it was a roast there for a second. But I'm going to start this speech with saying some thank yous. And firstly, I begin with you, Governor McAuliffe. I've said this on many occasions. I've been able to get through life because I had some parents who reinforced all the things I learned at home on how to be a better person. I got reinforced in school as well. And when I met you, those same values were reinforced, that I could do anything I put my mind to. You and Dorothy have been wonderful to me because you make me also remember that I should continue to dream big. And I think every young person needs that in their life. So I want to thank you once again for being a friend, being a great leader. Second, I would not have made it through these past 8 years without a remarkable team, led by my Chief of Staff, Maggie Anderson. Can all the mayors, if you worked in the mayor's office, please stand up. Maggie Anderson, Asif Abdul, Cordell Hayes, Sharon Johnson, Tavares Turner, Leela Jefferson, Cinda Myers, Tina Haney, Glenna Chung, Jim Nolan, Gianni Schneidel, Sam Schwartzoff, Tamika Jefferson, Lincoln Saunders, Thad Williamson, Eva Colin, Aaliyah McLean, Terrell Robinson, Brandon Cox, Steve Hammond, Rashana Sr. For the last 8 years, you all have had my back. You saw me on my good days. You saw me on my not so good days. And for 8 years, I've drawn courage from you, character, integrity. Not only are you all willing to lay your careers in my hand, but you all want to run through walls for me. For me. I was not going to cry. I don't know how I could ever repay you for all you've done for me these last 8 years. Y'all are very special to me and will remain special to me for the remainder of my life. Thank you all so much. I love you. Thank you. To my friend and our fearless Chief Administrative Officer for 12 more days, Lincoln, you were correct. You were my first hire in 2017. And for roughly now, almost 20 years, we have worked off and on together. Different roles, me being the boss. I've said it this entire farewell tour, and I'll say it again. The best decision I've made as mayor was making Lincoln Saunders the Chief Administrative Officer. Best decision. You've led with your heart. You've changed the culture here at City Hall. You delivered game-changing projects. And you created a damn good team. I'm proud of you. I called you when you were on your paternity leave, and I asked you to step up. You dropped everything. Even your, how old was Story at the time? No, he didn't drop her. You dropped everything to come back to work. And I'm grateful for that, my man. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. To our Deputy Chief Administrative Officers, Bob, Sharon, Tracy, Sabrina. This is the dream team right here. Sometimes I would skip Lincoln and go directly to them because they had the answers. And I'd say, I don't need to go to Lincoln. I just go directly to them. And I had them on speed dial. And I hope I was never too tough, but I set a standard of excellence for all of us. And you all have been able to inject that back into your teams throughout the organization. And now we've seen the results. Thank you. Thank you so much for your service. Chief Edwards, Chief Carter, Director Willoughby, my public safety trio. You all, for the last 8 years, you kept this city safe. Director Willoughby and Chief Carter have been with me for most of the balance of the 8 years. Chief Edwards is a new addition. I saw Chief Durham in here as well. When working in public safety, you're going to be faced, when you're the mayor and you're the chief executive, you're going to get some calls that are going to shock the psyche and break your heart as well. But I never second-guessed those who stood by me in the public safety world. They were absolutely the best. Thank you for your service. Thank you for spending that time with me. To all the department directors out there, I see y'all. I see y'all. Thank you so much for sticking with me. Before our tenure, we saw a revolving door of directors here in Richmond, the senior leadership level. And we were able to string together a long-term plan of having the best and brightest occupy these roles. And they always led with their heart and did the right thing. Even when sometimes the press wasn't kind to us, I hope you always knew that I had your back. I had your back. Thank you for your service. Thank you. Jason Cameras, the superintendent of schools. I met Jason. He came in as a young-looking man as well. We both leave as old grizzled men. But I told Jason, I'm going to be different than the other mayors. We're going to be partners. And I took that partnership seriously because not only were we partners, we are friends. And Jason knew when he can come, I had a soft spot for children. I love our kids. And he can come to me and ask for the biggest number. And I'm like, seriously? And I would say, let me work on it. And boy, we really worked on it over these last 8 years. Jason, thanks for being my friend, and thank you for continuing to love on our kids each and every day. Love you, brother. The Richmond City Council. I got a story for all of y'all. But we're not going to do that today. I got my aunties here. Got my cousin over here, Nicole. Me and Chris have been around for the entire 8 years. Andres and I were friends before we were in government, local government together. My good old friend, Reba Trammell. Y'all don't know me and Reba are actually real friends. Don't believe everything you hear and see. Catherine Jordan, we got the Diamond District done, didn't we? If you think being mayor is difficult, try being on the Richmond City Council. I know they're hard, their jobs are hard, but we found a way to yes on multiple occasions. And I realized as a younger guy that I needed to act differently in my second term and just be real with y'all and straight up and direct. And boy, did our relationship change after that. Thank you. Thank you for giving me a shoulder to sometimes cry on, to vent to, but also sometimes when I was not having the best to get those phone calls or just to give me a hug when we've seen things go wrong in our city. We have been a team, and I'm grateful for that. Thank y'all so much. This is about partnerships. We're not able to do all the things we do here as a city if it wasn't for a number of people who I see in the room, community leaders, community organizations, our friends in the region as well, Tyrone Nelson and John Patokas here. I know Chesterfield, we're going to be here as well. They got a thing today. I would be here all day if I named everyone, but I thank you for your belief in what the city could do under my leadership. To my external team that handle my politics. Kevin Zyhamel, Sally McCullough, Mike Dorr. I love you guys. Everything you read, sometimes may not make you feel good. But they remind us, Riley, that you're okay. You can get through this. And we got through it multiple times. because we won 2 elections. Thank you, guys. To my family, my uncles are here, my aunt, my mother-in-law. Thank y'all for having my back. Thank you to my uncles particularly for being an example to me. You know, I lost my father, and these 2 gentlemen have stepped up in my life in a big way when I lost my father back in 2011. And the day I leave this office is the day that my father died. The day I started in this office was the day my father died, December 31st. I'd like to think, no, I know that my grandmother and my father are looking down on me and our family is bringing me in the old days. To my amazing wife, Brandy, and my little girl, the pride and joy of my life, Sunday, you all have given me a true shot in the arm on why I do what I do. I told when I met Brandy I don't get too high because she doesn't allow me to get a big head, and I don't get too low because she keeps me level-headed. And thank you for just giving me an opportunity to do this. Sometimes it calls for me not being home all the time. And she's been our MVP. I love you so much. I love you. I love you too so much. My fellow Richmonders, esteemed public servants, beloved family and friends, it is an honor to stand before you one final time as the mayor of not just the greatest city in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but the greatest city in these United States. After 8 years of service, there are still days I can't believe it, that the little boy born to a couple teenagers, unwed teenagers, raised by his grandmother, who grew up sometimes with some holes in his socks and couldn't afford the fees to take his books home or to go on field trips, became the mayor of Virginia's capital city.
And can we say one thing?
Uncle Lewis, you can't interrupt my speech. Oh my God. They already rolled out my nickname. They just said my nickname out in public. Nothing like having family to do things like that. If you ever had any questions about me, now you know where I come from. Yes, my nickname is Pootie. Can't take folk anywhere sometimes, right? Wow. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But folks, growing up that way, and being able to achieve this office as mayor, it goes to show that placing limits on a child's dreams is both foolish and misguided. I have never, not for one moment, taken this hard-earned opportunity for granted. Yes, my family may have lacked wealth and formal education, but they made it up with a dogged work ethic, relentless determination, and an old-fashioned grit. I stand here today because my family did everything they could to ensure I had a fair shot. And that's exactly why I ran and won this office twice. I wanted to give Richmonders the same chance my family gave me. And that mission is what got me out of bed each and every single day. And as I reflect on these past 8 years, I'm proud to say that together, we challenged the status quo and paved a strong path forward, full of opportunity for a thriving city. As many of you all may know, early in life, I became familiar with words like should it, could it, and would it. And when I first became mayor, I heard those same words once again. They told us we couldn't build new schools, but we did. They told us we shouldn't take down those Confederate monuments, but we did. They said Richmond couldn't achieve AAA, but we did. And we have been in a fight for a fair shot, a fight for opportunity. And Richmond is faring well because of our collective efforts. None of these accomplishments came easy. They required time, hard work, and the dedication of so many people, many of whom are in this room today. Over the past month, as I've reflected on my time leading this great city, all the highs and the lows, a few things have stood out to me. First, no one, no matter how smart or determined you may be, is ever fully prepared to be the mayor on day one. You grow into this role. In Richmond, you've seen me grow, both as a man and as a leader. Each day brings new challenges, and I've learned from every single one of them. It takes agility and patience, qualities that I'll admit, and my team could attest, weren't my strengths when I first started in this job. I get my impatience from my father. But I've grown. I've changed in many ways I never expected. And for that, I'm profoundly grateful. This journey has shaped me just as much as I've been able to shape this city. Former Philadelphia mayor, that being mayor staged into a crowd and crowd surfing. Some crowd will catch you, and other times they won't. Over the past 8 years, I have certainly jumped, landing in your arms many times. And occasionally, we didn't quite connect. But that's the nature of the job that I took an oath to do. This role has brought wins and losses, moments of happiness and sadness, frustration and excitement. And yes, at times, it has been lonely. Being mayor means making uncomfortable decisions, ones that not everyone will agree with. But given the way I grew up, I'm proud that I had the courage to jump into the crowd and to take chances, even when they didn't work out as planned. What matters the most to me is that every single day I woke up ready to give this city my all, to pick myself up on even the toughest days and leave it all on the field. Because of that, I stand before you at peace. I'm at peace with the body of work we've produced. Lastly, whether we have seen eye to eye or rarely agreed at all, my conversations with you, my fellow Richmonders, in living rooms, in schools, at town halls, in barbershops, at diners, in our parks, those conversations are what have kept me honest and kept me inspired and kept me going. We have some of the most passionate, charitable, and hardworking people in this great city. You made me a better mayor, and you made me a better man. Over the past 8 years, I've witnessed our city's potential unleashed, transforming before our eyes and positioning herself to seize a brighter future. I've stepped into every Richmond public school, from preschools to high schools, and heard the hopes and dreams of our youngest residents. I've celebrated new police officers graduating from the academy, ready to serve our community. I've mourned with mothers and fathers who have lost their children to the scourge of gun violence, feeling the weight of their unimaginable grief. I've seen our health professionals step up and work tirelessly to save lives during a global pandemic. I've watched the progress flag and the Juneteenth flag fly high over here at City Hall, symbolizing our commitment to equity and progress. I've seen families rise out of poverty through innovative programs like guaranteed income, proving what is possible when we invest in our people. I've seen roads paved, trash and leaves officially removed, and bus lanes painted red, clear signs of strengthened core services. I've attended countless groundbreakings and ribbon cuttings for new parks, playgrounds, small businesses, schools, and fire stations, celebrating the growth of our community. I've seen our city achieve AAA, placing our finances in the strongest foundation in Richmond's history. I've seen our community rally behind the largest economic development project in Richmond's history, breaking ground on the new Diamond District and Carmax Park for our beloved flying squirrels after decades of missed opportunities. I've seen the vision of the Shaco Project emerge and be embraced after years of debate, finally creating a space to tell Richmond's full, unvarnished history. And I've seen Confederate monuments, which stood for over a century, come down, a city rejoicing, redefining itself and embracing a new identity full of compassion. Richmond is indeed faring well, folks. And together since 2017, we've achieved milestones that every city department and partner here today can and should celebrate. We reduced poverty by 1/3. You're right, Governor McAuliffe, by 1/3. We announced $4.2 billion in capital investments and created over 6,600 new, well-paying jobs. Our riverfront is transforming right before our eyes with CoStar's 26-story tower, the Allianz Amphitheater rising along the James, and we are also adding new parks like Mayo Island as well. We preserved or created more than 6,000 affordable housing units, added 200 shelter beds, and opened the city's first housing resource center for the unsheltered along Chamberlain Avenue. We raised the minimum wage for city employees from $11 an hour to $20 an hour. We expanded our parks with over 140 new acres of parkland, increasing the funding for Parks and Rec by 73%. We are building and rehabilitating state-of-the-art community centers. We boosted funding for Richmond Public Schools by 58%, built 3 new schools, 2 under construction as we speak. We launched a Pathways program, helping kids graduate but also attend community college afterwards for free. 300 new slots of childcare for 300 hardworking families right here in the city. 1,200 lane miles of roads paved, $112 million spent well in neighborhoods throughout the city. You can ride the bus for free now in Richmond. And violent crime has gone down by 26%. Simply put, we are a city with more jobs, more homes, less poverty, and less crime. And for that, I owe it all to the finest public servants in the Commonwealth of Virginia, those who proudly wear the seal of the great city of Richmond. Now, you knew I love y'all. Y'all know I love y'all already, right? I got one final act for you. So my parting gift to the fellow employees here is that you will not go to work on New Year's Eve. You got New Year's Eve off. That's the least I could do. The least I could do. Let me close with this, folks. My fellow Richmonders, in a city where change isn't easy, I'm here to tell you we are amidst change. And yes, change isn't comfortable, but it's necessary. There was a Greek philosopher by the name of Heraclitus who said the only constant in life is change. So we have a choice. Do we fight it or do we embrace it? Over the years, I believe that with grit, hard work, and intentionality, together we could change Richmond's story, change its future, and give all Richmonders a fair shot. That's how we became the number one place to live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, the number one place to visit in our country. I'm proud of what we've accomplished together, and I hope all of you are as well. But there's still work that needs to be done. Richmond's future will be defined by the values we hold and the actions that we take. As I step away from this role, I want to leave you with 3 guiding principles to carry us forward. First, Richmond, take pride in your city. Far too often, we tear ourselves down while visitors and admirers lift us up with praise. That has to change. Be proud of all of our children. Be proud of all of our neighborhoods. And yes, even be proud of your government as well. Because the grass isn't greener on the other side. And pride in our city will drive progress. Second, remember that inclusivity and diversity are our strengths. We are a city that welcomes all and leaves no one behind. That spirit of unity is what makes us stronger socially, culturally, and economically. And finally, don't lose your ambition. Don't fall victim to our history. Learn from it. But don't let it define us. Yes, we may have been the capital of the Confederacy. Yes, we may have had our challenges with segregation, urban flight, and crime. But that was then, and this is now. Listen, we've known both failure and success. Let those lessons inspire us to push the envelope. For fortune favors the bold. Richmond, I love you. And it's been an honor and the privilege of a lifetime to serve as your mayor. And I know that the best is yet to come. Yes. Thank you. God bless you. God bless the great city of Richmond. Thank y'all so much.